station is a generator, and you have to manage those. This proposal is for solid waste, construction debris, and for mattresses. It's not. That's
the recycling is my question.
We could certainly give you a price for universal waste, but it's going to be managed through a third party. That wouldn't be managed through us.
Okay, so we're really not looking at the recycling part of it.
We typically for recycling certified.
What's that?
It would be household recycling.
Yes.
So municipal solid waste and demo debris. And so we should really, in this proposal, cross out the recycling.
No, we're managing the recycling, household recycling. Plastic, paper, cardboard. What we call commingled. It would be zero commingled, which is everything's mixed together, and we send it to a processing place that manages it. And
I'm sorry, my hearing is not very good. I've got a little microphone to go to my hearing aids. Can you repeat that again? The last sentence?
well, it's household recycling, right? So it's paper, cardboard, it's all mixed together, and then that material is managed, take it to a MRF, material resource, and it's separated and then taken to market from there.
Okay, so that excludes tires, electronics, small appliances,
Yeah, that is not recyclable.
refrigerants.
That's white goods with refrigerators. That is not a recycled material. That is handled separately.
And what about things such as furniture, couches, chairs?
Yeah, that's waste.
That's part of the recycling.
Yes, that can go in. That can go in with the waste. Yes.
In the waste, in the MSW, the municipal solid waste.
That's correct.
And what about carpets?
Construction debris. Yeah, that's part of construction debris.
I got a few questions before to get what's going on here. I wanted to, how long did your service for the town? How long did you serve the town of Dalton prior to?
We look back. You first had a contract with Consummate Senko, which was the previous owner of the Landfill in Bethlehem, back in 1990. So Dalton, for over 30 years, Dalton had been using the facility on Trudeau Road.
Yeah. So when was the switch to Cabaret made?
May of 2020, I believe.
May of 2020?
2019?
2019, 2020.
2019 or 2020, I don't remember which.
2020. Is the date of 2027 a contract, well, is a contract locked which cannot be broken out of, or do they price only? I can't read my writing. Is the date of 2027 a contract lock-in which cannot be gotten out of, or is it a price lock only?
No, you could get out of the contract. I believe there's a 30-day notification to get out of the contract if you choose to get out of the contract. But the contract is good through 2027 and can be extended. I think two-year increments thereafter the 27.
So what we have here is a proposal, not, we don't have the contract terms in this document.
That is correct.
I guess two more. I need some clarifying on some things that have been in the paper, the Caledonian Record. It says currently Casella had two different rates, one for trash and one for CD. In the bid you gave us, that is not so. Can you explain that?
What article in the paper were you reading?
Just the Caledonian Record.
No, when? December, and
So in this bid, it's all inclusive, right? It's C and D and municipal. Municipal waste. It's the same. For this offer, it's the same. But you're right, typically there are two different prices. And the reason for that is obviously construction debris takes up more capacity and more space than MSW. So there's just always been that differential in charge based on airspace consumed. For the purpose of this bid, it's the same.
And my last one, are you banned from trucking to Carberry?
I know.
Okay. That's all. Thank you. You got any questions, Eric, or no? Getting on?
I don't believe so.
It was sweet and simple. I appreciate you coming in. It was straightforward. Unless there's something else you guys want to just elaborate on.
No, I think as questions come up, we're happy to answer it. Or if things come up from a hauling standpoint, recycling, if you'd like somebody from our recycling team to shed more light on the single stream process, we're always happy to do that as well.
But this proposal doesn't include transportation, correct?
Correct. His question was regarding Mount Carberry, and that's part of our hauling. It's not the part of NCES. Is my point.
Paul, you had a question?
Thank you. Yeah, the question was, I believe 2027 at the latest is when you're looking to close down the Bethlehem. The Dalton site, if approved, I believe it's on record, would take probably 3 years build out, right? So you've got a minimum, if the Dalton site was approved in January, which probably won't happen, but if, in terms of timing, right?
Sure.
But if it was approved in January, when you do your next permitting, there's a year gap.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to us about what that looks like?
So it's a great question, and the reality is if we're moving in that direction and we have the infrastructure to move that waste, that's why the mutual agreement for consecutive years after 2027 is in that agreement as well. So if we're moving forward with that project and we're all in agreement that we want to continue on, so we can do that, move the waste to
I'm
other
sorry, I'm
locations.
having trouble hearing you. If you could speak a little bit.
Sure. So the question was about whether there's a gap between NCES's closing.
And I heard the
GSL's
question.
opening. Right. So if we're moving in that direction and there is a gap, we have the infrastructure in place where we can move that waste, transfer it from here to another facility, move it to another facility. That's why there would be an opportunity for that mutual agreement to extend the contract.
So
And that would be
basically,
I'm sorry.
you would transport it from Bethlehem somewhere else.
Correct.
Under the same terms.
Correct.
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 Thank you.
Sure. Good. That's a great question. Anybody else got a question?
When it comes to recycling, is that blended all together, or are we doing it separately then from the, and what is it, I'm sorry? The MSW, sorry.
Right. So we would collect MSW and recycling separate. The recyclables, you get a list of accepted recyclables, non-acceptable recyclables to put in there. It would go into a single stream container. It's called zero sort at Casella. That's a proprietary name, but it's single stream is an industry term that everybody. That's how we do it. And then it would be commingled with others in the area, aggregated, and then transported down to our facility in Rutland, where it would be sorted and then sold back out to market.
So our transfer station is now set up to separate recyclables. So it makes no sense to separate them and combine them and then have to have them separated again.
Correct. This would certainly be more convenient than separating them all yourself and sort of running your own at each individual household level to separate them. We just bring them, drop them off in a roll-off container and truck them to the facility where it would be separated by people who work for Casella and the machinery in place.
Would you provide the container?
Yeah, it would be part of the
This is not a transposal, this is just a.
This is just accepting them.
Right.
Okay.
But to that point, the recycling still can go up to Trudeau Road. We manage the zero sort through Trudeau Road. We have a bay. A lot of companies use that bay. We put it in a trailer and then ship it off to the MRF. So my point is the recyclables don't get taken all the way to a facility. They get transferred on Trudeau Road. They get transferred into a larger vehicles for efficiency.
Right. At your volume, the volume that a single town would produce would be combined with other towns on that.
My name is Gordon Job. I live on Ridge Road in Dalton. Question about the design of a landfill is really not an issue. You have follow federal guidelines and state guidelines. Permeability is, I'm not sure in New Hampshire, 10 to the minus 5 or 10 to the minus 7, I'm not sure. What is your plan for quality control and quality assurance during construction to ensure that these guidelines are met?
So, I mean, I think we're more than happy to come back and talk about the proposed GSL landfill. I think tonight what we really wanted to discuss was this disposal contract. I think if we were set up to take that, we'd have some engineers in place to talk about the permitting process. So if that's okay.
Yeah, the other questions about the contract on the transfer tonight is not about.
Yeah, and sir, I'd be happy to take down your information and get you an answer by email or phone, or get you in touch with our engineering compliance team.
It's a proposal, not a contract, correct? You just said contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. May I? So we've heard Casella's. Are you planning on having Carberry come in and do the same thing for us?
They were supposed to be here tonight.
Okay, just wanted to know.
I can answer that. Okay. Carberry said that they're not interested in coming in and talking about the services that they already provide. They're not going to come in and do a comparison with other companies is basically what they said. The services they provide are what they provide for the price that they've provided.
Thank you.
And I think to be fair, we already know what they provide. We've been using it for the last.
And that was kind of her thing, is we have a contract and we already knew, so.
Can you find out what the list is that they provide and what the costs are currently? Can you bring that to the public?
What's the cost? The cost is $72 per ton.
And that's tipping fee?
That's a tipping fee, yeah.
Do they take mattresses?
Yes, they do.
Do they charge for them?
No, they do not.
They do not.
They do not.
But I have to.
Part of the weight.
Uh-huh.
We include it in our construction debris dumpster and they do not charge extra,
How many do you put in your construction debris dumpster at a time?
maybe 2 or 3. They go on top to keep everything in the dumpster.
Do you think that they would charge you more if you did bulk, like it was mentioned earlier?
They're not
like
equipped to do bulk. So if we needed to do bulk, they would come up with a price for us. But it would have to be a special quote.
I am going to add the fact that when I talked to Lisa, that 1 or 2, 3 or 4, like putting on top, like Jeanette said, is passable. But where we had 15, 20 there, she said that it's probably going to get charged. I haven't got that right, and that's what she said over the phone.
And she confirmed that when I spoke to her on the phone. because they don't generally accept that volume of mattresses at one time, but the town of Dalton doesn't usually have 15 or 20 mattresses a month either. So I think this is the first time we've had a higher volume of mattresses at the transfer station. Adam can probably, he's here somewhere, Adam can probably chime into that.
Questions?
Can I just make a statement? Am I allowed? First of all, I want to thank the select board for doing this. I asked this about 6 weeks ago, and you folks have been diligent. I come back and ask, and he says, yep, we're coming, we're having this meeting. How do the people know that this meeting was happening tonight? I just happened to get an email today. But how did we know that this topic was going to be discussed tonight so that people could come if they had questions?
Well, it was just,
At the last meeting, we discussed it.
and it was just, I mean, it was just decided.
On the website too, weren't it?
I don't know if I added Casella to the website, because it was literally just decided, I think, last week, right? I think, Rebecca, that's when you said that you guys could work with doing it today instead of Veterans Day. Because originally they were coming on Veterans Day. So through things that happened in the meeting last week, Tom asked if we could get them both here this week, and that's why
I
there was
appreciate
that
them
notice.
coming.
Yeah.
But I've also asked for a posted agenda so that people would know if there's a posted agenda 3 or 4 days prior, oh, this is coming up 3 or 4 days at the next meeting. And I just looked at the board. I don't see any posted agendas. Was there one?
There is not a posted agenda.
And I asked this question, I think 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, why not? And Jeanette, you said, we'll start doing it.
No, I didn't say that. I said we could start doing it.
Is there an RSA that you should be posting your agendas before a meeting?
There is not.
Is it common sense that we post agendas before meetings?
That's subjective.
Is it common sense? I think for everyone to know what's going to be happening at a meeting, you have to tell people.
Most people come to the meetings regularly, so they know what's going to be discussed.
But you know what? I don't come regularly, but I come regularly enough that when there's something I want to hear about, I'll come. The only reason I knew this was happening was because I got an email today at 10 in the morning. So I believe the select board and the town administrator needs to deal with this. I brought it up 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was here last time. And I was given kind of the answer, yep, we'll be on it. Yep, that'll happen.
Actually, I believe the answer was, Tom said, yes, I agree with you. But there was no decision to do it. There was no motion to do it. There was no commitment to do it. It was just Tom agreeing with you.
Okay. Can one of you make the motion that we have posted agendas now in the future?
I'll make a motion that we have posted agendas in the future.
And I would say 4 days prior to the meeting.
The agenda isn't done 4 days prior to the meeting, Scott.
3
so
days,
That's not
3 days
possible.
prior to the meeting.
You're lucky if it's 3 days prior.
3 days prior to the meeting. Then get organized.
It's not me that's not organized. I don't determine what's on the agenda. That's supposed to come from the board.
Okay, when I ran a committee last year, you told me I had to post the agendas before the meeting. I always did it, and I always had meeting minutes 5 days later.
I told you you
Every
had to
single
do that.
meeting. That's, yep,
Scott, can you
I don't think
please
so.
the public comment, please?
that's if I stay this long. So there's a motion on the table.
You want to discuss it?
I think we should do our regular business and discuss it as new business as we go along. We've got a lot of other things to cover today.
Well,
Simple
it's not
vote.
very hard. It's an easy vote. All those in favor? Aye.
So then I'm going to ask that the select board send me all of the items they wish to be on the agenda by the Monday a week before the meeting. If you want it out 3 days before, that would be Tuesday. So I need everything on Monday. Please.
Are we talking about Tuesday? I was thinking about more like Friday, 3 days before. I mean, we usually,
I don't know, are we talking business days, calendar days? we should be specific, I suppose. And I don't ever get any items to put on the agenda from the select board, so I just kind of wing it with what I know I have to talk about.
So I know when I was chair, I always worked with you on the agenda, and I
Yes.
saw that as one of the roles of the chair.
Well, thank you very much for coming in. I appreciate it.
Can I give us your information so I can get you that?
So I think we look at posting an agenda by the Friday before our meeting, that's reasonable.
Is that okay with you?
Yes.
And I think that should be a goal. There may be some weeks where it just doesn't happen because
That can
stuff is
happen,
going on.
that can happen.
So we need to from the board,
It'd be nice to have them at least a couple days before I'm required to put it out to the public.
I feel like by Tuesday.
That way I can ask questions if I need to, or, you know. Get clarification. I need to go grab your other copies while you guys are doing checks.
On the computer, Sentinel One is one of the security programs, correct?
Yes.
Eric, can I have my paper clip back? Reconciliations for September.
So with the CD account, we pulled the money out, but it wasn't posted on the statement. Is that what happened?
The CD account did not move until October.
Okay. What did we get from Amazon? $56.
Envelopes, right here.
Windows, thank you.
Mhm.
Looked at it and just.
It's cheaper than going to Staples. I need you guys to re-sign this current use application that you signed a couple weeks ago, or I think it was a couple weeks ago. The form that the resident used was the old form and the registry of deeds won't accept it. sewer tax warrant.
Are the rates staying constant
Yes,
this quarter?
yes, so far.
I make a motion that we approve and sign this sewer tax warrant.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Pistol license. Election warrant.
Make a motion that we approve and sign the election warrant.
Second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Before we get too far from the AP stuff, I received an invoice from our attorney, but I can't reconcile it because it has no details on it. It just talks about clients, town. I can't do anything with it unless I have more detail as far as what we're being billed for.
This is just a month, right?
Yeah, that's the month of September.
6,400. That blows the rest of our budget for legal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't think we had any right to know issues we had sent to town council.
The only one we had would have been the legal invoices, but that was 1 or 2 day, or 1 day.
Okay,
That was it.
back in like September 17th.
Mike Trudeau.
Trudeau.
But I think there was multiple inquiries in there about right to know stuff.
But there's another one for, so that's, $276 on the 17th. On the 18th, it's receive, review, and consider redactions and exemptions for right to response documents for town. So that would be the legal.
Yep.
For $414. A telephone conference with clients for 2.8 hours? Who was that with? Because we didn't have any board meeting with the attorney.
Probably.
Tom, did you talk to the attorney?
No, not for 2.8, not, how many hours?
2.8.
2.8.
No.
It's a
I can't talk that
$600
long.
phone call. But that's why I can't justify cutting a check. It's part of my job to reconcile an invoice, and I can't reconcile it when it doesn't say what it's about. Or
Work on updated legislative issues for the town. Telephone conference with town, 2.3 hours, $529.
That's for your, legislation, wouldn't that be for,
HB
Planning.
1221?
The-
Oh, maybe for the plan, that might be the planning board.
No, I think that's on the next page.
Isn't that it?
Yeah, but 1221. Okay.
I think the planning board stuff, he said that it was regarding HB 1221.
Receive and review DTC right to know responses.
That would have been the legal invoices.
Yeah, but that seems, is that a duplicate from the work they did earlier?
I couldn't tell you because he's not specific in his billing.
receive, review, and consider additional documents and issues raised regarding Conservation Commission, another $500. Thanks. Personnel policy, $575, but then there was also work prior to that. $414. Well, it's a lot of money. It's almost $1,000 to review the personnel policy. And all you had was one minor change, which was not substantial. And when did we send that to him? We just got it back recently, right?
I think my original email was beginning of September, maybe.
Okay. I haven't been overly impressed thus far.
Seems to me somebody else is using legal here. That ain't right.
Well, usually what happened in the past is the board would talk about it. They would motion and vote for someone to contact legal, or for me to contact legal and set up a meeting. But I was always in the loop. I knew by the motions and the votes, so that when I got the invoices, I knew I could look at it and say that it was right. But
And it's also important to make sure you're copied on all the emails.
well, because I'm supposed to have the files, yes. But
And so you can
the only
read
thing I
invoices.
contacted him about was Smith Road and the personnel policy. And the right to know for Mike Trudeau's.
I don't know where the 2.8, 2 hours and 8 minutes came from.
I haven't talked to him. Have you?
I don't even like being on the phone.
Tom, have you talked to him?
I talked to him for about 30 seconds.
And what day was that?
I don't remember. haven't seen anything, what's going on. The only other thing, I don't know, so unless you, you would check on and find out.
Want me to call them? Get more detail? Or Jeanette and I can call them. One of us.
Your stuff's gonna fall. Oops.
Oh, and I just looked at your emails to them. You didn't include Jeanette on those emails. She needs to know what's going on for our files and also so she can review invoices and have that level of detail.
I'll see what I can get from him.
Gotta wait till comment time, Pam.
Meeting minutes from September 30th.
I've already read it.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from September 30th.
I only had one problem with it. There. Remember getting up twice?
I don't know what you're looking at, so I don't.
So do you have alternative language you'd like to suggest for it?
There's nothing in there about Jeanette getting up.
And speaking as a citizen, I thought there was.
Was that on the 30th?
Yeah.
Jeanette asked for clarification. Reminded Tom of the right to know stuff. That's page 2 and 3. It's probably further back.
It's this paragraph right here. Jeanette removes herself from the table to speak as a resident.
Must have missed it.
It just didn't happen right at the right to know point part. That's why. It happened later in the meeting.
Okay. I missed it. I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thing.
Non-public 1 and 2 from September 30th.
motion to accept non-publics 1 and 2.
I'll second that.
Where's this one too?
This one here, you gave me such a hard time about it, that never went through. I don't know why that's there. I says, fine, I'll wait, I'll call NHMA to find out.
Well, nothing went forward, but that's what happened in the meeting. Is you proposed that, and then we discussed it, and that was the salient points of the discussion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 2, I will go aye. Number 1, nay.
Meeting minutes from October 15th.
I didn't look at that, it was 1 and 2 sealed.
One was sealed, one was not.
1 is not, 2 is sealed.
Jeanette.
Yes. Supposed to be running the running? You're not running the running?
No.
Typo there?
Yeah, page 5.
So that should be running with the meeting.
Thank you.
I know I saw a couple typos, but I don't remember where they were now, and probably minor.
When you read it and type it and then read it and then read it again, it all looks the same. Did I give you non-public with that?
Yes, you did.
I said
You did
it
that.
was
15.
10:15.
Minor typo one.
I'll make the motion to accept minute meetings for October 15th.
I will second that with the correction of the typographical error as noted.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
before those attachments. You're looking for the signature page?
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
And then there's non-public 1, 2, and 3 right there for the same date, 10/15.
I think on the second one, I made a minor typographical correction.
Okay.
Just walking, stretching. Once we get through this, it should go faster. Sure.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes for the non-public meetings number 1, 2, and 3 on October 15th.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I on 2 and 3 and nay on 1.
One more. Meeting minutes from 10/21.
I'll make a motion to accept minute meetings from 10/21.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
You motioned that, right, Eric?
Yeah.
Just confusing you as you minutes, but
Right?
you're shifting it around.
It's okay. And then we have one non-public from 10/21.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes for non-public number 1 for October 21st.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
What was the date on that very first one we did?
9:30, I think. Yep. Yep, September 30th.
Thank you.
Mhm. Do you want to go or do you want to wait? We should.
Oh, what do you mean? I'll go. Right here.
So in the last meeting, we talked about the likelihood that we'll have to apply for a TAN. So I asked Nancy to get the information so that she could bring it to the board so that we weren't delayed in trying to do that. So I printed out the email and the letter. Some of them are multiple pages, some of them are just two, because when I made copies, I did multiple sides. So it might seem like there's more there, but there's not. So, Nancy.
Basically, I asked Woodsville Guarantee Bank, the interest rate on the TAN note is 4.75%, $65 a day. I said we'll anticipate 500,000, even though we don't have to take all that. They transfer it in as we need it. So he said the process basically is we send in a copy of the most recent audit, town report, current budget, the minutes from the meeting where you approve, the select board approved the TAN note. And then one form goes to our lawyers and they say, yes, we're in a position to borrow this money. And then one copy goes to their lawyer for approval at the end when all this paperwork is done. And there'll be paperwork for everybody to sign. But we just want to have it ready when we need it. And we think we will because the school hasn't done their business yet. So we can't send out tax bills, so we need money.
Do we have any update from the school?
No update,
So they haven't even sent it to the RA yet?
not that I know of.
How about the county?
The county bill, I mean, we haven't received the actual bill, but that's been appropriated already.
The bill, but the county part of the tax rate. Has the county set their part of the tax rate?
Well, they listed the appropriation, so yeah, I would say that's,
Or not this year, but for next year?
I think so.
Okay.
That's how I knew it went up.
Oh, okay, I didn't know it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And does Woodsville Guarantee Savings Bank have a competitive rate compared to other?
I haven't checked others because there's a lot of banks that don't even do it.
Okay.
And we've gone with Woodsville in the past. In 2020, it was 1.575%. We borrowed 400,000. 2021, 1.70%. We borrowed 500,000. 2022, it went up to 3.4%. We borrowed 400,000. We didn't have one in 2023. Yay. And now it's at 4.75. I can check around, but I don't know of another bank where I could even check.
As I recall, when we checked, I think there might have been another one, but they were higher rates, as I recall.
Yeah.
Woodsville has always
Yeah.
given us the best rates.
Yeah.
From what I can remember.
We're talking $65 a day for
If we,
whatever
for
we
like
have.
500K.
Whatever
But
we take.
we wouldn't pay until we withdraw on it.
Right.
200,000 transferred or whatever.
We
but-
basically have like a line of credit.
No,
No.
it's one deposit. We tell them how
Oh.
much we need, they give us they deposit the money, that's when the interest starts, just like
Okay.
a regular loan.
So we get up to 500K. If we only need 300K, that's all we draw from.
Right.
Okay. And once we have all the paperwork approved, including by our attorney and them, then,
A minimum of 2 weeks to get the money.
Yeah.
So we don't
Because
wanna
they don't know if their attorney's gonna be available or what their, working schedule looks like.
so if we get it
at least a
approved,
couple
then
weeks.
we could wait until like the end of November to actually
take it.
take it.
Sure,
And if we don't take it, then
right, no harm, no foul, but we're just trying to be ready.
I make a motion that we authorize our treasurer to proceed with setting up so that we can take a TAN. And is 500,000 the right number?
That's the maximum, so
Okay,
if my memory serves me correctly, I think our county tax bill is almost 470,
yeah,
so.
okay. For 500,000, and then we will decide later in November about how much we actually want to borrow.
So basically, what you're gonna be doing is just going to get it set up.
I'm gonna pull the copy of the most recent audit, I'm gonna give them a town report, the current budget, and these minutes, they can be, just a draft, it doesn't have to be signed copy of the minutes until the actual signing. So I would give them all the paperwork ahead of time, and then we'd be ready to go when we say the word.
Then it comes back here for signing.
Yeah.
And that's at 4.75%.
Yep, $65 a day.
Do we need to approve just the setting it up or the actual borrowing?
I think you need to approve both.
Both. Okay, I'm going to
I mean, there,
set the motion as to just set up the TAN loan, set up and proceed with borrowing the money. That's not worded very articulately, but
I think if you just proceed with borrowing the money, then the treasurer has to do it, so
okay.
that's a given,
So I proceed with
borrowing. the money.
borrowing the TAN.
Okay, so you might just want to restate that so it's clear.
I make a motion that we proceed with the tax anticipatory note, and we authorize our treasurer to act on our behalf. and
I'll
setting it
go
up.
with the first part, and the second part, I want to see it first.
You're going to see it, you have to sign
You
it,
have to sign it.
but
okay.
she has to approve, the minutes have to state that the
Okay.
select board
I didn't get
approves
that
the
part,
borrowing,
sorry.
yeah.
I'll sign it.
And you may have to state from Woodsbury, right?
From,
Pardon me?
with the
Don't they
TAN
have to
from Woodsville Guarantees.
Yeah, I think you have to state the bank and the amount.
So I made a motion, it was seconded, to proceed with obtaining a TAN from Woodsville Guarantee Savings Bank for the sum of $500,000.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
So Nancy, you have this letter on your computer, right? As
Yes.
a Word document?
Yes.
Can you send it to me?
Yes.
Because I'll fill it in and then send it to the attorney for them to review.
Yep, I was wondering who would send that, yeah.
Where'd Adam go?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Oh, is he?
Does he wanna get it done with?
Probably. That's a basic idea of where we are as of right now.
Adam's seen this, right?
He hasn't seen that, but he sees everything else. You can have my copy.
Where are we in terms of the work and getting ready for winter? Like, are we 50% along the way, 75%?
75 to 80 on most of them.
How's the Smith Road?
Still the same. Waiting for that line to be lowered. They finally put the pole in Friday.
They hit ledge, he said.
Yeah, they came Tuesday, started, hit ledge, had to come back Friday. Cause they had to go get the special bid to drill it.
He had to cut a tree too, right?
And
Well, I
that's,
know where they're running it. It's on, Wayne and Nancy's side on the bank.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get a hold of the woman in the house there, cause they thought it was on her property. Said the trees you need to cut are actually Wayne and Nancy's. So I gave them the phone number to them. And she says, cut whatever you need. They showed them the pen where the property line was.
and we haven't
Are you
heard from
doing
the
the work
attorney on
there?
that issue, have we?
If I can, yeah, I'd like to.
What was your question, Tom? I missed it, I'm
I
sorry.
was asking if he was doing the work on the, down by the bridge.
We don't know what we can do, what we're doing yet.
But we have not heard from the attorney yet. And I know I saw where Jeanette's reached out a couple times.
Yeah.
Well, I just assumed because I saw gravel thrown in there. I
Well,
thought
that
it
was for the bore test,
for the board test.
so they could find out what kind of ground they're working on, with for the pilings,
Oh, okay.
plates.
So pilings have to go in. you're
Yeah.
saying.
Plates.
And you expect that anytime soon? I mean, the answer from him?
So the boring test is done. We don't have the results yet. Once the results are determined, the engineer will determine what type of structure and support needs to go in. Whether they need to do a poured wall, a poured head wall, or if they can do a placed stone head wall, whether they're going to drive sheet metal in there, or if they're going to build off of the side of the road with the structure going underneath and then going vertical where the brook is. So that's what the engineer, that was the boring, so then they'll figure that out. And then the engineer will be able to tell us what type of road can be done, what's better to be done, and then he'll give us the pricing for some options. And if he may not be able to give us the pricing, it may have to go to a contractor to get pricing. And then depending on what's going on, I mean, Adam can't plow roads and build roads at the same time. So we may have to hire a contractor to do it.
I think that might be too much for Adam to handle.
Depending on what's required, yeah.
That's what I mean.
So
I'd love to do it.
Do we know how long it's gonna take to get the results from the boring test?
I think we should hear something this week.
I'm pretty sure, because I know when they had a fella come out and stand there and watch them, because they assumed when they were done boring that he was going to take the samples because he was there for the engineer, because the engineer couldn't make it. And he says, "No, I'm not taking the samples." And one of the guys says, "What the hell was he doing here all day?" I assumed they wanted the samples, so they took them and sent them out, and they said they should know right off because they know it's an emergency.
Yeah.
So it seems like if we have any information back, we may need to meet on Monday, a working session, just to make sure we don't wait another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm thinking on that too, when he comes in with the results, I hope he's including the state's portion of that, because there's gonna be a state portion of that coming off that.
I think the state has to worry about connecting to our road if our road is placed there first. Because the state said 3 to 5 years before they even know what they're gonna do there.
Oh, wow.
So I don't think that they have figured it out.
No.
That was the last
They have to
information we
accommodate
got.
to ours. They'd have to accommodate to ours. Somehow, some way.
And I think that we should have Jeanette call the attorney for an update.
See if we get an answer.
Don't have any answer yet.
That's on the Smith Road you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I had read an email that he responded to you.
Oh, all he did was
I
say.
asked for an update. I've been asking for an update since I think September 6th is the first time we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I say I'm not impressed thus far with this run.
I'm not impressed with a lot of things you did either.
I'm sorry?
I'm not impressed with a lot of things you've done either.
And how is the FEMA stuff going? I know you guys have been.
Adam and I met on Thursday for a couple hours, went up through all the project descriptions, updated the percent completes in their system.
Signed them.
Signed off on them. We have, I received some additional information from Adam as far as where the guys are working and what they were doing, so I can finish getting the spreadsheet up to date, current. That may or may not be done by our tenant, it won't be done, who am I kidding, by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning when we meet again with FEMA. But I can send them what I have. The plan with FEMA is to start closing out the smaller projects that are complete, so that we can get the requisitions going to start receiving money. So FEMA only pays 75%. I reached out to New Hampshire Department of Office of Emergency Management, Department of Security, all those different things, whatever it's called, and asked them how we go about submitting a request to the governor to ask for the state to help us pay our 25% share. Because 25% of $500,000 or more is a lot. So the project manager with the state is going to help me work on that.
So I thought there was a group here that was gonna come in and do the 25% and tell you what you had to do to bring it up to par. You recall that?
No.
They were gonna tell you whether to put the size of culverts.
That's
No, mitigation will help you do upgrades.
That's not the same thing then.
No.
And they're still not involved, or not gonna be involved, you know?
Mitigation, yeah,
Yeah.
they're involved. They have been.
And they given us money towards,
No,
Mitigation doesn't do anything towards rebuilding the roads. Mitigation gives us money to improve
infrastructure.
the infrastructure so that we don't have another catastrophic
Like putting
event.
head walls around.
So if we jump back up, that puts us at item D under 4, transfer station revenue expenditure review.
So we've been waiting for, to do an assessment of this since January, and I wish we had started in January because there's some data that we've been collecting that we don't have, but I just wanted the data, so I jumped in and did some work on it. So to begin with, this is a summary of our revenue and expenses at the transfer station. Last year, year-to-date for this year. And I did do a projection for the end of this year. I annualized it. We did make, or Jeanette made the copies for me. I made about 10 copies so people could share.
I'll post it with meeting minutes too.
So basically, if you look at our, the other sheet that's on the back of that is some more detail about revenue and expenses. It's not on it, it's the one that they're getting, it's on the back.
I was gonna
I
say,
just
I
said
must
it's
have gotten,
I was looking on the back, and there's nothing.
Yeah, no, but the copies that they're getting have it. But if we look at the summary of the transfer station revenue and expenditures, the key thing is that the net that we're looking at is in 2023, it was we subsidized the transfer station by about $23,000, $23,471. Thus far this year, through September, we subsidized the transfer station by $12,588. If we annualize that, which is, that's just an approximation because annualizing is just assume we're spending the same amount every month. So just basically dividing by 9 and multiplying by 12. it looks like we'd be subsidizing it at about $16,800. So what you can see here is that the main source of revenue are our bags. We also get money from metal and from demo materials. The hard part, and this is where if we had done this assessment, we first started talking about this at least the first meeting we had in January. And if we had started looking into this, we could have been collecting data all year. The deposits from the transfer station lump everything into demo if Kyle is doing them. There were some receipts that I looked at where Mike broke it out. And that's where we have a few items for tires and electronics and small appliances, and those are ones that Mike has initialed. But all the others, everything is under demo. So the demo isn't just building demo, it's demo and tires and electronics and small appliances and furniture and everything. So that's where I really would like to see that detail of what we're bringing in for revenue that's paying for things. But we don't have it at this point. We could ask Kyle to provide that level of detail going forward and get information for the rest of this year, for 2 months basically. But I really think that next year we should be collecting that level of data.
We would already have that if we did our itemized every month on each department. It would all be right there.
No,
Yes, it would.
No,
No,
because
it
I'm
would
not
not.
getting it
Yes,
from
it would.
Kyle.
it's original receipts, the source documents that Kyle does. Here, I can show you.
We do itemize it, but if I don't get the information that way from Kyle, I can't put it in the system that way. So the system just will show 0.
So that's for money.
Here, just let me just do one thing at a time here. So I was thinking of going through and like doing all the demo and the amounts we got each time, but it just wasn't worth my time. See, this is what Kyle does. So it's all demo. And it doesn't break it out. He breaks out the bags, but nothing else. And there are some in here that where Mike does it and they are broken out. But that's only a few. That's why we just have a few that are in the categories of tires, electronics, and small appliances, because Kyle doesn't give us that level of detail. So there's no way it can be entered into the system that way, unless we get that detail at the transfer station.
So we could start doing that. Mike could just prove that it works by.
Right, we can, but we have to. That's where
They never telling you that
Yeah.
it works that way.
it can. But we have to train Kyle and have him do it. And it seems like maybe if we did a quick form or something, it might help him. Although he uses those receipts. So the other thing we have on the revenue and expenses on the detail, we have, I did break out our expenses according to transportation, tipping fees. We did the hazardous waste disposal, which actually I should not have annualized that because that's a once a year thing. So I see a correction there. On the annualized column, we should cross out that 1,207 and then the total will be different because that was just, one-time thing. So note this total right there. And we have what we pay for electronics recycling and refrigerant recycling and tires.
That new amount becomes 33,534.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
534?
534.
So I tried to look at, with more detail at the different types of waste. So I looked at the electronics waste. In June, we did have a receipt that was weighed. And so I did some calculation of the rates. But then in September, it just said a Gaylord, which is one of those big cardboard boxes. So I don't know how much that is weighed, how much it weighs. I could make some assumptions if we, maybe the one in June was 2 Gaylords and those are approximate, but I really don't know. The tires, we had the hazardous waste disposal. We didn't have any refrigerants recorded through September of this year. We had metals, and the rate does change. I think that changes probably with the market rate for metals. So it varied from between $70 to $90, with a couple of invoices at $80. And we had about a little under 16 tons. So then for the other general recycling and disposal, again, these aren't categorized, so I can't really do, this data really is meaningless now. The other thing is all the recycling that we take to Littleton that we're not charged for, the regular recycling, the plastics and the cardboard and glass and everything, they don't typically weigh it. So we don't have a weight on that, correct?
Correct. They said that they would start weighing it now so that we at least had like a benchmark for like a full Gaylord of plastic or a full Gaylord of cardboard. Because usually a full Gaylord is a full Gaylord. It weighs about the same.
Mm-hmm.
So they said as we bring stuff in, they'll weigh it for us and then let me know what the average, what they're finding a typical Gaylord weighs of each category.
That will be very helpful. And then I looked at what we're charging compared to other towns. And we've got some copies. They just won't, I highlighted the things I thought we needed to look at, which didn't come through on the copies.
Thanks. Here's one more, Mandy.
So basically, I know that within the last year, we've revised what we're charging for tires, and those look like they are probably in line. And we looked at our cost to dispose of them. And this is a little bit clunky in terms of a report because different towns call things or categorize things in different ways. But at least it's a start of trying to look at where we need to modify our rates. So it seemed like in terms of furniture, like the large furniture and white goods and things, we are probably generally, it depends. We've got a lot of variation, like Littleton's higher. Lancaster just varies by size and weight. Franconia, which is really 3 towns, I believe that's probably Franconia, Easton, and Sugar Hill, are higher on some of these things. So I think that these are items that we need to look at and see if our rates are reasonable or whether we need to revise them. And we should also look at how much detail do we want? How do we want to categorize things? And maybe this is a conversation with Adam and Kyle and maybe some residents that might We had talked for a few years about it'd be nice to have a committee that actually dug in and looked at these things. For mattresses, I think we're low on those. I think we should raise our rates on mattresses. And one fundamental question is, do we want to move toward the transfer station being closer to breaking even? Or how much do we want to subsidize the transfer station as a town? So those are things to be thinking about. Box springs look like they're in line. Large appliances, we could probably go up a little bit on. I think we're probably pretty good on TVs. We've got it broken down by sizes. I don't know if we have trouble with broken or cracked glass on TVs or monitors. Whitefield adds a $35 fee if there's a computer monitor or TV with broken or cracked glass. I don't know. That's a Kyle question, whether that would be useful. I've got somebody who'd like to.
If I could just interject a slightly different perspective, I don't know the answer to this, but the rate at which we subsidize these things has I believe, a direct impact on the amount of stuff that ends up getting dumped on the side of the road and dumped on properties. And so while, saying subsidizing this at all is a bad thing, I think subsidizing it to the degree that we do is keeping our roads as clear as they are. Last year's, cleanup, we were moving tires and TVs and everything else from the roadside on Simon's Road, and I'd hate to see that get worse. So please consider that as you move forward.
That's a good point.
Oh,
and actually, I think that.
Oh, sorry. I'm just going to agree with him. I see him, they don't want to buy the bags, never mind the cost of everything else to get rid of. They're burning their couch, and we've got to breathe that in. And I'm not in favor. If you look at that paper she has given, it's basically to run the transfer station is roughly in the red about the amount of the salaries that we pay the people to run it. And we have to offer the service to the town people because they're just, that isn't our problem. Our problem is the school budget.
Yeah.
I think we're doing well on this. To not break even, but to just, right now, it's just the cost of the salaries, roughly.
Yeah.
And can I just interject one thing while I'm thinking about it? For Lancaster, my little note didn't come out when I printed this. For tires, they allow each family or each resident to dispose of 4 tires per year, and then they start charging for regular, like small tires. I don't know how they manage that, keep track of it, but that's a thought too.
My question, Joe Beth, where did you get these numbers? You have these in writing, or did you just?
I got them from going through invoices and looking at financial reports.
For the other towns?
Oh, you mean the comparison?
Yeah.
I got them from the websites.
You did, okay.
And that's why they're all, they're different formats and different ways of categorizing it. But I think it's good to know where we stand, even if we don't make any changes.
Yeah.
So if we're having TVs dumped by the side of the road, we might need to drop those rates.
Well, just for perspective, after cleaning Simon's Road for 4 years in a row, we've made a lot of progress, and it doesn't seem to be getting worse. So I'd hate for us to do anything that sends it the other direction.
Well, that's where, I mean, I've been saying this for a few years. I think we need discussion about this. I don't think I have all the answers, but I think, a group of people could dig into this and look at it and make recommendations to the board, and that's what I think would be helpful. And I think with Littleton started restricting demo materials to residents. So then where I saw we were lower than other towns, except for Whitefield, are our bags. So Littleton has $25 for the large and $15 for small, and they have a medium at $17.50. Lancaster was $30 and $20, and Franconia $50 and $30. So we're at $17 and $11. So I'm just putting the data out so we can make decisions. Is that where we want to be? I know we've heard people say that other towns are using our transfer station. I really don't know if that's true or not, and that's hard to manage.
I think if they're paying, it's not an issue.
It's a tough call.
Yeah, I'm just.
They don't want to buy the bags now. They're burning stuff they shouldn't be burning in their yard. I don't want to put the burden on the people that are trying to get rid of their trash to raise the prices. And if it costs us the cost of salaries, that's where we're at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's where I just wanted to get this out
yeah,
there.
oh, I appreciate it. I do. I didn't know half of this stuff here. That's good.
So I don't know that we need any.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know that we need any action now. I mean, I think the thing, if we get Kyle to keep more detailed records of the revenue he gets in. That would be helpful. And maybe you could do that for a couple months and we could look at how he's doing it and see if it's working in terms of what we need. So do you have any questions or no?
The Tilson Park sign, we already went over that.
Yep, that's done. We had that sign dedication last Sunday, a week ago Sunday. Went really well. Frank was moved to tears. He had some of his family come and he was moved to tears. It was really good, and we had some other residents stop by and said it was a wonderful thing just to see positive, happy things going on. So we're trying to figure out what type of events we could do there to utilize the field now. And a lot of people said an ice skating rink, and I was like, yeah, that takes planning. We're too close to coming up on winter, but that, who knows, next year, who knows, so yeah, it went over really well.
It's okay, because I mean, we need a source of water, so we need to frame it in.
Well, there's a big old river. but it's not that close to the park, but yes, so.
Flea market every year.
Yeah, flea market or,
Every year.
yeah.
Personal policy challenges.
The personnel policy,
Yeah.
I printed that out for signature. I added the sentence regarding the road agent being in control of it with select board approval, I think as far as budget or something.
For
or other.
training, I believe it was.
Yes, it was for training. Item 13.
And otherwise, it's just the way, it's exactly what we looked at before.
Yes.
I make a motion that we approve the revised personnel policy.
I haven't taken the time to go through all of it yet, so I'd want to wait another, and other things I was dealing with.
Okay, I mean, we saw it and went through it.
No, I've been
Yeah.
dealing with my life with cancer.
Okay. So we've got some changes that were in here that have already been implemented, like retirement.
Yep.
I mean, we could approve it with just 2 votes too.
Well, and those are, everything was approved previously. It was just going to the attorney for them to give a final nod on it. That's where we left it.
So I'm still gonna make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
The deeded property auctions.
The one previous property owner did not elect to notify us that they wish to repurchase the property. They've had almost 60 days, so the auction company will move forward with starting the process to do the auction. I think he was looking at doing it December 7th. I don't believe that they were going to come here and do a physical auction. I think they were planning on putting it together with another auction that they were doing, but we would be able to view it online, and anyone who was interested could either go to that the site of the auction or bid online, similar to what they did here last year. When I get confirmation on the date, I'll let you know.
Okay. Like to know the response?
That's just the right to knows that are out there. 2 for Chris Ennis, 1 for Mandy, 2 for Mandy, 1 for John Swan. I haven't received responses, full responses, or any responses in some cases.
I gave you everything I had.
You gave me one thing for one of the right to knows. There were 4.
I gave you everything, though.
I don't know.
That's all I have.
I gave the requesters what you gave me, but some of them you didn't respond at all. So I don't. You got to respond. I mean, just read the right to know, read the RSA. You got to respond. I
Didn't
can't.
respond.
To 1, there were 4. There were
You
4
want me to write
rights.
the same thing 4 times?
No, there were 4 separate right to know requests. You responded to 1.
Because they were all different.
They're all different.
Oh.
Mandy had 2, John Swan had 1, Chris Ennis had 2. So there's 5 total. You have to respond to each one separate. It's what they're asking for is separate, different items
Okay.
in some cases. But even if Mandy asked for something that Chris asked for, you still have to respond. This is my response to the right to know from Chris of this date. This is my response to the right to know from Mandy of this date. Because I have to respond that way.
Okay.
So, and I don't have access to your guys' emails, so I can't do it for you. So.
And then if there's communication out, some of those were worded that it was broader than just email. So if there's communication outside of email, summary is appropriate.
Right.
And I think you've got everything from me, correct?
Yes, I think 1 or 2 of them did not apply to you specifically.
Building committee? No update?
No, we haven't met.
Conservation commission? No update. Planning board, I didn't make it last meeting.
We have a couple of members here.
I think we've already discussed the last meeting also.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
It
you'll
was a
have
month
another
ago.
one next
Yep.
week, right?
Clean energy, solar bill,
Nothing there.
nothing there.
There's nothing on any of the grants.
Well, we're going to decline the diesel.
Yes, we already talked about that.
Health insurance premium,
Yep, I got the renewal from Health Trust. I apologize, I did not make copies. I can email it to you guys if you want. It's increasing. .6%. I don't know if you guys want to look at this or if you just want me to send it to you via PDF.
yeah, that's fine.
Listen,
I'll send it.
so that's a smaller increase than last year, if I remember correctly. I think it was
so.
11% or more last year, so.
Yes.
Liability and workers' compensation renewal,
That is also increasing. Approximately 15% or so on property and liability. Oh, sorry, overall, 22% on property liability and 13% on workers' comp.
So is there a reason for the?
I didn't read through everything. I just got it late last week and I thought it was worthy of printing out and mentioning. I can email those to you too if you guys want.
Did you send this out to us?
I don't think so. I I can, so that you have a copy of it. I didn't make copies for everyone.
Yeah, if you would, I'd appreciate it. I'm almost thinking you sent it already though. I could
I
be
don't
wrong.
remember seeing it.
No, I sent out something about the proposal for assessing. Not that. No, one is workers' comp, one's property and liability.
November election.
I need to know what you guys are working because it's next week,
In the morning. first.
Tuesday.
I can come in late morning through late afternoon.
The same thing, I'll be here at 7:30 or when's the polls open?
Polls open at 8,
Okay, I'll be here for that.
like
I'll
8
stay
to
until
noonish.
12:30.
And I can probably be in before 7:30. I'll plan on coming about probably 11
Okay. Till,
until 5. I'm here by 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
so you'll be here at 5 o'clock till we finish, Eric?
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun last time, right?
Oh, yeah.
You want me to come back over at 9? Come back over at
Gonna
9?
be more fun this time.
Sure, if you'd like to. Help count, supervise, whatever.
How are all the other plans going for it? Are you all set for workers and everything?
Yes, we had a couple that have become unavailable, but we had alternates built into the schedule, so right now I think we're still okay. If we get more people pull out, we might have an issue, but I think right now we're still okay.
Thank you.
You're all set from the checklist supervisor perspective?
Yeah, all of the process has been done. We will have the books printed that morning, and we'll turn around and review and then do the oath in regards to confirming the tally on it. And we'll have all 3 books ready for everybody for the election.
We've already gone over the fund balance, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Thought so. Assessment proposal.
I emailed you guys the difference in the type of reval, which is the difference in the proposal. So
And so that was for just like the 5-year reval that's coming up in another 2 years, right? And not for regular assessing?
he was looking at regular assessing. Originally, he gave me an hourly rate, and I said, that really doesn't work for me because I don't know how good your people are, and I don't know how fast they work and how thorough they are, and I need to be able to budget. So he said that he could do something for us in the $1,200 a month range for the general assessing, and then the reval would be its separate contract.
And do we need to lock in just because of the difficulty with getting assessors the reval now? Because it was really steep.
I don't know if we have to lock in for that now. You know, it's kind of like commodities. You might do better locking in now than later, or you might not. It's never a bad idea to have your person who does your regular general assessing also do your reval, just simply because they're already familiar with with the properties. I mean, up in Holbrook, I think that they were getting, reval quotes for like $150,000. Because they had to have, because they didn't have the reval in their contract, and they were contracting to do a reval with someone who had no history. So, I don't know. I guess it depends on how much of a gambler you are.
Well, and for the reeval, they had a proposal at $92,000, but that was with going and updating everything, and it looks like doing inspections of every property.
Right.
So basically starting from scratch, or they had a statistical reeval for 42, which I think is what Gary did.
I think so. He works on it for the years leading up to, and then takes the data that's compiled by the market, the sales, the values, all that different stuff, and then puts that all together. I believe that that's what we.
So according to his proposal, he says the main difference is the site visits for the data collection to verify assessment data on the property record card.
And since we still use the PA-28.
He recommends that data collection is completed every other 5-year cycle. So if your data was verified before your 2023 eval, it may be okay to skip this cycle. If not, I would suggest site visits between now and your 2028 re-eval.
But they would do site visits when they're going based off of information provided on the PA-28. So they're already getting that information.
Right, but for properties that are stagnant, they would just be taking what's there. So the question is, how comfortable are we with the data that's already out there for assessing? And do we think we need to get an updated inspection for the re-eval? And maybe we need to think about that a little bit.
That's for the people's property.
Yeah.
Right, these are the assessments. So we've got two things. One, we need an assessor to take care of the day-to-day things. And I think we were paying
that's about what we were paying.
About 12.
So if 12 or 1,300.
If he'll do it for $1,200 a month, I think we should go with him.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been looking for somebody for how many months?
Over a year.
Over a year.
And for going forward, 2025 forward, I've been playing tag with 2 other companies who said, yeah, I'll give you a proposal, but it's been months. And I'm like, are you going to give me a proposal? Are you going to give me? I just said, this is my last request. Are you going to give me a proposal? Like, if you can't even give me a proposal, how are you going to come do the work? That's how I kind of look at it.
And this company is out of Haverhill, Mass, but they are licensed in New Hampshire.
And they're doing towns on each side of us.
Okay.
So
do we also, to that 1,200, have mileage?
I don't know.
I mean, I think we're in a situation where we don't have a choice.
I mean, I don't think we pay mileage for, we don't pay mileage for them coming here.
Okay.
I don't think so.
And can they do some of the work in Avatar remotely?
It depends on the security of their system.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept the proposal for the general assessing from KRT Appraisal.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye. And then I think another meeting, or do you need an answer right now on that?
I don't think I need an answer right now.
Okay. I mean, I think,
are we leaning toward
doing one of these options for re-eval? So we'll hire them to do the re-eval. We'll need to decide which option we want.
We don't need to decide tonight.
No, but I think if we're accepting the contract, if we can say that we are going to hire them to do the re-eval, we don't know which scenario we want yet. That would be just.
We can figure that out next time around.
Yeah, that would just be a good relationship building with the company.
What's the guy's name doing that?
There's different people that do it.
It's KRT appraisals, they probably have a number of appraisers.
Sonia.
Yeah, they have a
Okay.
bunch of appraisers, and he comes very highly regarded from DRA. So,
Yeah, and DRA said they wouldn't continue past the end of the year.
correct. They said it's been really fun. We
Not
have
that
work
much
that
fun.
we have to do for DRA now.
Well, I think it's great that we found a company, because it's
Yeah.
been a long haul looking for one.
Yeah.
Certified computer renewal.
Contract is up on October 31st. We didn't vote on the appraising, for the general appraising.
Yeah.
Joe Beth motioned.
Yeah, we did.
You
I
did?
seconded it and then I voted.
So everybody voted aye, right?
Aye.
Apparently I didn't hear it. Thank you. My fault.
So,
Sorry, I should tell you, because I did read through it. It went up slightly, but we added 2 computers to the group. So it includes hardware replacement, which I believe we're due for replacement of one of the servers and all of the computers next year. I believe we're up for that in 2025. So what they do is they take all of that and then they just put it together and break it down by the term of the contract. So it looks like the service contract would be $900 a month, which I think right now we're paying like $820 or $860 a month. This would include replacement of the computers and servicing all of the computers, the server, helping with our third-party vendors like Avatar and MRI
Is
for,
that the same, so when you say 2 other computers, one of them's Adams?
yes, Adam's computer and the planning board got a new computer. So it added those 2 computers to the contract for support.
and they do basic security, our email, and they're available for support.
Everything. Thank God they work with our vendors and answer all the questions. I'm not an IT person, I don't know.
I make a motion that we renew our support with certified computers.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
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 She said
Aye.
I heard that one. And then the last item was just Mandy. She had emailed all of us on Wednesday. You guys got it, right?
Yeah.
Do you need a copy of it?
No.
What is it?
Mandy emailed asking to get on the agenda for tonight,
No, I got that.
and we do have non-public, just so you know, they shouldn't be long though.
All right, thank you. Amanda Deveno, 511 Simons Road. Again, I emailed in the agenda items for the select board members and would like to follow up. The first concern I would like to address is a potential change in trash company for the town of Dalton. I know we're kind of rehashing a few things, but I just want to, I'm sorry, there's a copy of what I'm reading tonight. I just want to reiterate that Casella's information was wonderful tonight. However, permits have not been approved, and there are legitimate concerns on here. October 22nd, NCES sent an email from Mary F. Don, Solid Waste Management Bureau, to John Gay to inform Casella of a third incomplete application. Again, this will delay approval. And then there also is a new time extension for the Granite State Landfill project relative to AOT permit application N231113-224. The new deadline for response to the June 24th, 2024 Department RFMI is now January 22nd of 2025. Casella requested this extension, and therefore the final permit application will be turned in at the earliest of January of 2025. So keep these things in mind as you discuss changing possible trash collection companies. The permitting process will take a long time. And then we also need to consider HB 1221 relative to including solid waste landfills in the definition of development of regional impact. Again, that was signed by the governor 7/19/24. So that may possibly delay application or permitting process as well. So just due to the uncertain timeline for permit application approval for the Dalton landfill and the possible regional impact, I feel it would be unwise to change from Mount Carberry landfill at this time. However, again, it was wonderful to hear Casella come in and explain what they could offer us. However, no permits have been fulfilled, and we need to keep in mind that even though the community host agreement offers us free waste disposal, and they have already said that they could manage that 1 to 2 years where Bethlehem would close before Dalton would open. Again, permits have not been approved. My second concern is in relation to Casella's community host agreements with talking to Mr. Skip Sansauci, which I believe Joe Bathy had brought up at a previous meeting. I did want to say I apologize for the attaching him to under campus. I was unable to review previous meeting notes because they were not approved in a timely manner or posted, therefore made the error of associating him. So I would like to note that correction. He has experience in host community agreements, as Joe Beth had mentioned. It would be important to consider and lean into people who have legitimate and professional experience to ensure our best outcome for the town. And then I would like to confirm that the Board of Selectmen has done their due diligence and solicited information from the other 2 Casella landfills in the state in regard to their community host agreements. Now, I did notice, I believe in May, that Eric, you did reach out to Canterbury, correct? And got their host agreement?
Coventry.
Or Coventry, sorry, Coventry. Oh, what?
I went to Coventry, but not as a selectman.
But then why was it in the meeting
You said
minutes?
you were going as a selectman.
It was in meeting minutes
Yeah.
previous to this year that you had. So have you contacted Bethlehem about their host agreement?
No,
Why not?
because they came here.
When?
Bethlehem came here?
No,
Casella came
Bethlehem,
here.
the town,
Oh, the
for
town.
their host agreement.
No,
Okay, I'm new to the area, so I understand that there is some conflict between the town of Bethlehem and Casella. I would like to know what happened and where those missteps happened so that we can avoid those in our host agreement. So I think it's important that you also bring them in, okay? And you look at their host agreement. That would be doing due diligence as our board members, okay? And then lastly, I remind you that I filed a right to know request on October 17th of 2024 at 3:45 p.m. A formal receipt was issued on October 17th, 2024 at 4:05 p.m. by the town administrator. Joe Beth has complied with my request with the specified time frame as outlined in RSA 91-A:1-A. Tom and Eric have not responded. I once again remind the select board members of the availability in RS 91-A:4. Records must be available during business hours at the premises of the public body. If not immediately available, respond within 5 days. Provide the record, deny it in writing with reasons, or acknowledge it in a note of the time needed to respond. Neither of those things have been done by Eric and Tom. Also see RSA 91-A:1-a, any information created, accepted, or obtained by a quorum of public body or by a public agency, such as a clerk's office, town administrator, or police department, in any physical format received in or out of a meeting in furtherance of its official function. Failure to comply with my right to know result request will place those board members in violation and in jeopardy of legal litigation. I requested those. It is my right to do so. You need to respond. You are past the 5-day business.
Yeah, you brought it up. That was number G. Right to know response.
You haven't written. It says written notice. You have not gotten back to me as to why.
I'll get back to you.
Okay, I'm just saying you're in violation currently of 91A.
All the information you want came here. I have nothing on my computer, nothing, no conversation. It's all came here. It's stuff that you want. It was brought in by Casella or even.
So you have had no conversations with Casella on the host agreements?
No, I had it right here. Right here.
You obviously have, because you've reached out to them to get it, which means you were in communication with them with the community host agreement.
With Coventry.
Well, that's part of it.
That's part of it, yes.
Official business, that's business, that's communication.
I wouldn't say Coventry because I heard it was a crap hole.
I would I would read those 91As again, guys. That's all I'm gonna say. It's very specific.
I mean, I responded that Casella came in January and July, and those were my communications with them.
If you want that, I'll write that down. Give me the dates, I'll write down. So you have, that's all I got.
I shouldn't have to give you the dates. You should have them.
I'll have to
You're
look
the
back,
select board
look
member.
back in a minute.
You should follow through that.
Maybe, boy, I tell you what.
And I don't believe that that's all the conversation you've had.
Well, you don't have to. I did not have. It was done right here. And you guys can keep harassing, accuse it all you want.
Holding somebody responsible is not called
Can we call for
harassment.
order, please? I don't need this.
Any more comments?
Yeah, I just, one of the things that Mandy was talking about as far as the permits is that after the permits are granted to, for the Granite, I always forget, thank you, Granite State Landfill, that according to John Gay, it would be at a minimum another 3 years before the GSL would be up and running. So, so you figure January and then a couple more months for DES and whoever, DEH, I don't know, to make their approvals, then it'll be 3 years from then. And, you know, we were talking about if they can guarantee us the same rate, that would be one thing. I don't know. I don't know what the contract says.
Your proposal has an increase of a minimum of 5% per year or more if the consumer price index for trash removal is and disposal is higher than 5%. It could be more than 5%. So it definitely will go up at least 5%.
Right. And then if they have to bring the trash somewhere else, then it could go up more. And so I'm just saying that they said that according to their own engineer, it would be 3 years after all the permits have been granted before they would be up and running. It would probably be more than 3 years.
And the deadlines for submission of additional material have been extended to January 22nd. That just starts the process of review by DES. And DES might still go back and ask for more information. So we have no
except for if it's
idea.
not complete by February 28th, I think, then the application gets kicked out and they have to start all over again.
Right, but then that February 28th, if it's complete by then, that starts the review process. So we don't know how long that would take.
Yeah.
So Mount Carberry, the one in Success, has to go through permit processes and stuff to expand.
Can you speak up, please?
The Mount Carberry Success landfill has to go through permits to expand to keep accepting trash. So they have to go through permit processes that might not pass either.
They just finished an expansion.
But they're established.
They might be submitting for another expansion, but they just finished an expansion. They opened an entire new area in Carberry.
Stage 13.
I don't know specifically. I'd have to look.
Because one of them failed the groundwater depth.
I would have to look.
My point is they have to go through permit processing and all that stuff too.
Right, but that's for expansion. That's not for building a whole new landfill that'll take 3 years.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying.
I have a comment. I just want to remind you all that townspeople, citizens have a responsibility and a duty to hold their legislative body responsible. And if there is a misunderstanding of RSAs and duties, it is incumbent on the people of your town and your constituents to call you forward, and so that you are aware, so that you can comply, so that the town is not liable. Because under these RSAs, the failure to respond can be pushed forward into the court system. And it opens up not just litigation, but also this idea that why isn't anyone responding to these things? And which leaves it open for interpretation. And I don't think that anyone wants that. I think if there is a misunderstanding or of how to read this RSA or how to comply with a right to know, then people need to lean into either reading it or asking an appropriate person, like our town administrator or whoever's above of that within the state, so that we're following proper procedure. But I think we need to stop with this idea that holding people responsible as harassment is just inflammatory, and it's not appropriate.
Thank you. Make a motion to go into
Wait,
non-public.
I thought we were talking on that subject. I was waiting for public comment. Can I? Okay. All right. So last week I reviewed past minutes all the way to March, and I noticed that on over 50% of the time, Tom Dubreuil has abstained from signing the minutes and has given no explanation. As a matter of fact, tonight, Tom abstained from approving and signing 4 sets of past minutes. 4. And the reason why I looked into this is because, well, we need, as a town, we need accurate and complete minutes of the meetings so that we can understand how our town is being run. But without approved minutes and without open discussion of why you may agree or not agree with the minutes, then everything is, again, open to interpretation. And it leaves us, we're just really not sure what's happening. And it can create a bit of chaos because then people start assuming things. So I guess what I would ask is, can you, Tom, alleviate our concerns that taxpayers may have that are inaccuracies in our town minutes? Because if you're abstaining and we don't understand why you're abstaining, it makes us feel like there's something going wrong. And if there is something going wrong, then you should be bringing it up, not keeping it to yourself. So I'm just asking, can we count on you in the future to provide the transparency that both you and Eric actually claimed when you ran for office? And will you participate in discussion and actually vote on approving the yay or nay on future minutes?
Were you not there on the April meeting over there?
I was there.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember I read the RSA on the right to know on the phone?
Okay.
Okay. Was it put in the minutes? No, it was not. I brought it up to put it in. Was not. I have minutes that opinions are put in there, not exactly what's going on. So instead, and when I bring it up, it's always an argument. I said, it's not worth arguing about. So and I have a right to abstain. And we don't even have to. Never mind. I'm not even going to go there. But anyways.
Okay. Well,
it's all about that, and I'm not going to stick my neck out on something that I've got to take and argue about all the time.
Okay.
And it's funny that it's always. To me, it's always one-sided, and I'm sorry.
All right, so I happen to be a resident of this town, as does everybody here. And one-sided or not, I think we all have different opinions on things, so I don't think it's one-sided. And, but if you felt like it was such a big deal and so one-sided, or that we weren't listening, then it just seems to me that maybe if we actually officially recorded these meetings, which you guys voted against doing, then at least you would have evidence that you're not being listened to. And also, it is offensive to hear you say that I'm harassing you. You said,
I did not say you.
You did in a meeting. It is recorded.
I don't care. Whatever.
Exactly. You don't care that citizens of this town are asking you to be transparent. They're giving you very simple right to knows, and you don't answer them. And then you're saying you don't care. And then I just wonder, why are you a select board member?
Want to answer?
No, I'll think on it. I'll work on it.
Thank you.
Can we move on? I have a couple of things. I don't want to keep you guys here till midnight. I know you have non-pubs. I've asked this before. Has there been a meeting set up for you three selectmen to talk to legal? It seems like a lot of crap's going on, so why don't you all three just sit there and talk to legal? Make a list, go over the items, and you three selectmen talk to legal. Has that been done?
That's what the our old legal suggested as well.
Yep. So why hasn't it?
So we had talked about having Jeanette set up a meeting to talk to legal about the letter to make sure that Casella would be responsible for paying cost. Have we heard back from them?
No.
I'm talking a meeting where you guys, you three, are talking to legal at the same time, so nobody has a problem.
I'm still having trouble hearing you.
Yeah, I know. I'm suggesting that you three meet with legal, so you have your questions answered, and nobody's accusing anybody of talking to someone out of turn. Don't you think that's a rational idea?
Well, we decided last meeting to do that.
Well, why
regarding
hasn't it
this
been
issue,
done?
Because legal has not responded.
Really? Has Jeanette actually asked them to set up a meeting to meet with you three select board members?
And the town administrator was how
You
the
three
motion
select board members.
Hmm?
You three select board members.
I'm gonna push back on that because
I know.
as we
you
look
need
at
her
the
to
invoice,
talk you
Jeanette
up.
needs to be involved and she's the one who'll be carrying through with things.
Okay.
She needs to have records
Let's get
for our
back to,
file.
has there been a date set up to meet with legal?
Did you send out a response?
I sent out a request.
You did?
No, a date has not been set because I haven't gotten a response.
Hey, I'm just asking.
Well, I'm
Thank you
just
so much.
responding. I mean, you're very passionate about the three of them meeting with legal for some reason, so.
Because you're not a selectman.
And neither are you.
That's correct. And I'm not asking to meet with legal.
You shouldn't be dictating what my job is though either.
Oh, yes.
I'll make a motion to go to non-public.
No, I have one more thing. There is this draft of a non-pub I'm really confused about, Jeanette.
No problem, I
It's
can
the
explain.
one that relates to legal action against John Swan. It has a motion made to seal these minutes. If so, motion made by Joe Beth, seconded by Eric, because it would be determined that divulgence of information likely would, but then I don't see that it was followed through with motion passed or did not pass.
Can I see what you're looking at?
Sure thing.
How'd you get that?
Oh, this is floating around the Swan's page.
That's because what you're talking about, the ceiling, there was no ceiling.
Well, did the motion pass?
No.
Then why isn't it written on there?
It's in the other meeting.
So, okay, in my error, I didn't remove Joe Beth when Eric in the motion made to seal these minutes, if so, motion made by. So I should have removed the name Joe Beth and removed the name Eric. This was one of those many meetings that.
We should have caught that when we reviewed the minutes.
That it should.
So, I'd
This
like to
is
know
one
how-
of those many meetings in which it should have been discussed in public, not non-public, and it was not sealed. These are the meeting minutes that were not sealed. You only have one part here, but this was issued as a draft in response to John's right to know request. It was not sealed, which is why it was provided.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I don't understand why did they go from here to John Swan? We
I'm
didn't
sorry?
really- How did they go from here to John Swan's Facebook? And we didn't even approve it as a board.
Did you read John Swan's right to know request?
Did you know about his right to know request?
Yes, because it was sent to them.
Just asking.
And according to the right to know, if minutes haven't been approved within 5 days, which is the time frame for responding to a right to know, then the draft or the draft notes have to be provided. And so if there was a non-public, if it was sealed, Jeanette would not have provided it. But
Because
it
I
was
would have
not
said,
sealed.
I cannot provide it because it's sealed. If it's not sealed, it is public. It gets posted with the meeting minutes. Anything non-sealed is posted with those meeting minutes.
And regular meetings too are posted in draft form, whether they're.
Pam, I'm sorry, but you did not receive the right to know request. I responded to the right to know request as I should, as the town administrator. So that's why it was issued.
General question.
That's why it was issued. I already said it was part of a right to know request. How many times do you want me to tell you?
General question. Don't you post draft minutes of public meetings if not approved in time?
No, not
You
unless
don't.
someone asks for them. If someone asks for them, then I will post them as a draft. but they need to be asked for. We don't just post draft minutes. You're one to talk about transparency. So we don't just post draft meeting minutes. If someone requests draft meeting minutes, Pam, we provide them. You can request them based on the RSA that says that we have 5 days to post them, and then I'll give them to you. Or you can request them as a right to know, and then we have the 5 days in order to respond.
And
we haven't posted draft meeting minutes in over 2 years. Any other questions?
Not at this time.
Anybody else? I'll make a motion to go into non-public for.
One, two legal, I think they're both all legal. One's about an abatement, so that's legal.
Legal.
Yes, they're all non-public legal.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Will you be having a discussion after the non-public?
No.
Promise? We saw where.
We have to come back to seal minutes.
I know, but last time there was a discussion.
You second that, Joe Beth?
I did. I'm gonna take it this way.